What's up, guys? This is Sharpens Iron. We are going to get into a live draft, a live Battle Royale draft. If you guys have been following the last few videos that I posted, we went 12-0 with the last BR team. We had a great team, had 89 Pat Neshek, which I've told you guys many times that he is, in my opinion, he's the greatest relief pitcher to get. Batantis is a close second, but Neshek is definitely my favorite. And we were able to go 12-0. A lot of it was because of what he did. I didn't go through the game history, but out of the 12 games, let's see, we probably had, so let's do quick math. So 12 games, that would be 36 innings, except for we had a few that were extras, so probably 40 innings. I bet if I went back and looked at the math, he pitched at least 30 of them. So probably 75% of the innings in that BR run were 89 Pat Neshek. So it would be awesome if we could get him again. But you never know. I mean, really the thing about BR is that the draft, it's all luck. So like I've told you guys before, you're hoping that you get a good team, especially when you're paying 1,500 stubs to enter. You know, not now, maybe it's not as big of a deal as it was back in March or April when, 1,500 stubs was, like everything that you had. But still, you're paying some stubs to enter, and you hope you get a good draft, but it's complete luck. So we're just going to see what we get. One of my general rules for BR is that if I don't absolutely love the team, then I'm not going to play with it. So that may happen. We get into this draft, and I don't really like the team that we got. It just turns out that I don't get cards that I like, don't get relievers that I like. And then what I'll probably do is just go into 2 games and quit out, and then I'll draft a new one. But at least we're doing this live draft so that you can get an idea of how I draft, what I'm thinking while I'm doing it. I've done another one, a few of these before, I think, at least one, maybe 2 other ones. And I just kind of walk through what I'm thinking, what my thought process is as I'm drafting. So let's go ahead and get into it. You see that new flawless reward for Jim Rice. I'm really glad I didn't get him in the 12-0 game that I went last night. Last night I got Bags, which, Bags, Harper, really, maybe Griffey and Bench might be going for 500K. Bags and Harper are always, there's like a wait list. I think when I sold my Bags, there was 8 people deep. And I think for Harper, I haven't looked. I think I've heard recently that it's like 23, which is crazy. I mean, some of those guys are probably going to be waiting like a month to get a Harper, if that. But I don't really care for this new Rice flawless reward. I felt like, it's November, or now it's December. I felt like we definitely could have got somebody better. I was hoping for like a Trout, maybe like a Trout Rookie of the Year. Maybe that wouldn't have been 99 card. I'm not sure. But anyways, I was glad that I got to see Bags last night. Let's see if we can get a good team and see if we can go 12-0 again. Okay, first round. Not bad. So as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, maybe you're new to BR. So I'm going to go over some of the basics. Some of you that are more up to speed on what to do in BR, this may be a little bit too basic for you, but I want to make sure that everyone who's watching this kind of has an idea of how I approach my draft, even some of the more basic principles of it. So in general, actually as a hard fast rule, I'm never going to draft a diamond starting pitcher. Unless for some reason I haven't pitched with that particular pitcher, and like maybe it's say for example the Player of the Month Paxton. Say Player of the Month Paxton comes up here, and I haven't pitched with him before, and I'm not sure if I really want to invest in all of the July Player of the Month cards, which right now is like 300K or something. So maybe I would say, okay, yeah, I know I'm not going to, I know this is a BR run that I won't go 12-0 in, but I'll go ahead and just take him to try him out. I'll just go ahead and try out the Paxton, and hopefully he gets picked within one of the first few games, and then I can see if I like him. But in general, unless I'm really trying to actually test drive a card, I'm never going to take a starting pitcher in the diamond, gold, or the silver rounds. It's always going to be common, occasionally bronze, but hopefully you've got a draft where you're always going to go with a common starting pitcher. So the other ones are usually up for. I will draft them if I like them. I'm typically not going to take a diamond reliever. There aren't any here, but I'm typically not going to take a diamond reliever. There are a couple of exceptions. I will usually take Kenley Jansen if he's available, depending on who else is there. Now, if Trout is there, I'm going to take Trout. Pretty much hands down, if Trout's there, I'm going to take him. If 99 Harper's there, I'm probably going to take him, even if there's Jansen. But if there's some other players, like if it was these two players and then this Gonzalez was Jansen instead, I'd take Jansen here. But since we don't have an elite closer here, and these are both decent cards, but this Rollins card is good. So we are going to take him, and having a switch hitter in BR is gold. I would almost say that having a switch hitter is almost like raising it an extra tier. So, for example, if you get a switch hitter in the silver round, it's almost like getting a gold card, because the pitcher or the other opponent is not going to be able to match up against you with bringing in his dominant righty or his dominant lefty, because your switch hitter is just going to switch sides. So it's almost like getting one up. So getting a 99 switch hitter like Rollins or Beltran is excellent. So we're going to go with Rollins here. Okay, so right off the bat, they gave us our second diamond. Doesn't happen too often. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Eddie Murray here. Now, he's not my favorite hitter, but like I said, having that switch hitter in BR is very nice, especially because depending on where we put him in the lineup, if he hits second or third or fourth, there's a chance that he may only get one at bat. And so what I would like is for him to get an at bat against an opposite-handed pitcher, and so that's what he will do when he's a switch hitter. Makes it a lot easier to set up your lineup too, so that you can stack it right left or right switch left or left switch left, so they can't just stack a lefty against you or stack a righty. These other cards are good. This Hoskins card has good contact and excellent power. But I like this Murray card. He's got good vision. His swing, I think it's the same swing that Ripken has, if I remember correctly. Somebody, if you guys are on the chat and you remember, let me know. But we are going to go with Murray here. Okay, so I've played enough BR to know right off the bat that Arodys Vizcaino is going to be my pick here. He is one of the excellent bronze relief pitchers that you can have. When I bring up his stats right here, the per nines are decent for a bronze card, 73 and 85. But you can see here that in 21 innings, I've got a 1.03 ERA, 1.03 WHIP, 2.1 ERA, and 27 strikeouts. This is all in BR. So he's a great pitcher to have. He's got that sinker, the slider, and the two-seam. Really, the only way he would be any better as far as his pitch selection, I think, would be a slider, sinker, and a change instead of that two-seamer. Great. I like the pitches, though, a lot. And it's a bronze card, so we're absolutely going to go with him. Okay, good. We've got our first common. So commons are starters. Just if you're new to BR, just remember that. Commons are starters. You want your starting pitchers to be the commons. Now, if you're new, you may ask why. You may say, why do I want to have a starting pitcher as a common card? Isn't that an important position? Well, you're right. It is an important position in a ranked seasons game, because you've got 9 innings. And so you want a good starter who's going to go for the duration. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, I'm back. So you want a starter who's going to go for a long period of time. BR is a completely different animal. BR is 3 innings. You have 7 bullpen positions, and almost all of them have the potential to be decent enough cards that you can bring in to match up against other batters. The other thing with a starting pitcher and the rest of those pitchers is that in this shortened format of BR, the stamina is a lot lower. So a starting pitcher who normally could go 7 or 8 innings in a regular game, in BR, that's the equivalent of going about 2 innings. So the stamina is significantly lower. So what you really want in BR is you want depth at the pitching position, and you get that in the bullpen. So your starting pitcher is, in my opinion, you always want to take a common or a bronze at the very least. Now sometimes you get unlucky, and the draft actually forces you to draft a gold or maybe a silver common or a silver starting pitcher. But as long as you can help it, go with the starting pitchers in the common rounds, maybe bronze rounds. So we are going to go with Lopez here. Got another starting pitcher, and honestly, Chris Young, he's actually I'm trying to think. He's probably the best common starting pitcher. I don't know really what my stats are. We're going to look at it. See, so this is all BR. Every inning of this is BR. 4.67 ERA and a .92 WHIP. So to tell you the truth, for a starting pitcher in BR, those are really good numbers. Really good. The thing about Chris Young is his delivery is so wacky and deceptive. It's almost a straight over the top delivery. And so he's got this curveball and the changeup and the slider. They all start above the top of the strike zone, and in some cases end up breaking all the way down below the strike zone. It's very difficult for some guys to pick up. So if I ever have the option of more than one common starter and Chris Young is there, I will always take Chris Young. So we're going to go with him there. So far, so good. It's looking like a pretty good draft so far. Okay, so now is where we start making the decisions. And how do I make decisions? I make decisions based on what players I play well with. So we've got 83 Devers here. I'll look here at his stats. So I've had 8 at-bats, 9 plate appearances. So I had 1 walk, and then I'm 2 for 8. So I've got a double. I'm hitting 250. Cesar Hernandez, he's a switch hitter, so that's good. And I've gone 375 with him. No home runs, no RBIs, but it's pretty good hitting stats as far as the average goes. And then we've got Blevins. Now with Blevins, 22 innings, all in BR, great numbers, 1.99 and a .75 WHIP. Now in this situation, even though I know I just told you guys about how important switch hitters are, lefties in the bullpen are also important, especially somebody who you actually pitch well with. There's a few lefties that are just, trash, and you don't really, I wouldn't take them at least. But Blevins is one of those guys who I pitch very well with. I love the sinker, I love the cut, and then the curveball and the changeup combination. He really has all the pitches that you would want in any pitcher, let alone a left-handed relief pitcher. So in this instance, even though Hernandez is a switch hitter, I'm going to go with Blevins because of the fact that I need a lefty in the pen, and he's a really good lefty that I've done well with. So we're going with Blevins. Okay, so we've got another silver round. We've got Hunter as a relief pitcher. We've got Devers, and then we have Giambi. Now, we already looked at Devers' stats, or Devers. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Giambi, done pretty well with. He hits righties extremely well. So if I take him, what I will end up doing is probably playing him at first base or third base. I already have Murray, so I've got to be careful about... I probably can't take another first baseman. And I don't want to play Giambi in the field because if you look at that speed, 39 speed. In BR, sometimes that's something that can just really hurt you. So even I don't really like any of these guys. I'm not taking a silver starting pitcher. I don't like Hunter. Um, I don't actually know if I pitched with Hunter. Okay, just one inning. Um, I don't I don't remember that much about Hunter. His per nines are not that great. I think I'm going to go with Devers. I've got a comment here. Zach Silver, can you have a free pizza? Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're going to go with Devers as a lefty, and who will play third base for us. By the way, somebody get Zachary a free pizza. Okay, we are going to our next starting pitcher. It's a common. What is our motto? Commons are starters. Commons are starting pitchers. So let's go with Lyles. Okay, gold round. Robertson has pretty good per nines. I think I've done decent with him. I haven't pitched with him at all. Okay. McCann. Now, the only reason McCann is a gold is because he's a catcher and because he's got he's got good arm strength and good fielding. Thanks, Baseball 6601, saying I deserve way more subs. I appreciate that. Oh, cool. One of your favorite the show YouTubers. Hey, thanks, bud. I appreciate that. As you guys know, or most of you guys probably know, I'm just starting out. I've actually only been doing this for about a month, but I love the show. I really like to teach you guys what I know. I mean, I can't claim to be the most knowledgeable, and I'm definitely not the best. I'm decent, but I'm definitely not the best. But there's I like to help out, and I feel like I can be kind of a nice presence in the MLB community. And also, like the name of the channel, Iron Sharpens Iron. It's a Bible verse. It's a verse from the book of Proverbs that talks about how when like iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And what that means basically is that like when we're helping each other out, we can help each other out even when we're competing against each other. We can actually make each other better in competition. And so that's kind of what my goal is here. We're all competing against each other, but I also want to help make all of you the best that you can. And you guys help me the same way. You guys help me get better by competing against me. And I sometimes I reach out to you guys and ask you guys for tips. And so I really appreciate that. Okay, so I think we're going to have to go with Winfield here. I didn't finish with McCann. The only reason why he's a gold is because of the fact that he's a catcher. He does have the good fielding stats, which is good to have, but he's not worth taking in this round. There are many, many more bronze catchers or silver catchers that are going to be a lot better for you than McCann. So this isn't a great round, basically, but we're going to go with Winfield. He hits well. I'm going to have to put him in right field, which is his arm is okay. The speed could hurt us, but it's just how the draft fell, so we don't really have a choice. So we're going to go ahead and go with Winfield here. Okay. Zach, if I get you a free pizza, then you will subscribe and tell all of my friends and tell all of your friends to subscribe. I told you, you have it. You have the free pizza. You can go ahead and get the free pizza. All right. Let's see. Decent round. McGee, I've done okay with him. He might be a good option out of the bullpen. McCann, I think I've actually done well with him. I've done well with him. He's got good arm strength. Blocking is decent. Dyson is a good guy to have in the field. I've done really well with Dyson. I think I'm going to go with Dyson. You can see here 5'10". He's basically, if you walk with Dyson or if you get a single, it's a double or a triple, because he gets on base and he's got that 99 speed or 98 speed and 99 stealing. If as long as you have somewhat of an idea of what you're doing as far as stealing bases, you can get to second with him. So we're going to go ahead and take Dyson here, and he's going to take center. The other reason, too, is that with Winfield and Wright and the terrible speed that he has, it's like 43 or something, having an extremely fast center fielder is kind of makes up for that in a way. So we're going to go with Dyson here. So Baseball 6601, you should make a how-to pitch effectively vid with Guidry. Yeah, you know what? I will as soon as I figure out how to pitch effectively with him. There is something about him. I face him, and when I face him, guys just pretty much dominate me. I can't figure it out, but then I go and I put him into the rotation, and I think I know what I'm doing, and then I get lit up with Guidry too. So I like the card. I really like the card. The per nines are good. I like the pitch selection. I just haven't figured out how to pitch effectively with them yet. So once I do, though, I will be sure to make a video for that as well. All right, let's see about Knapp here. Okay, haven't used him too much, so I'm not going to go with him. I think at this point, at some point, you start thinking about who are you going to have on the bench. That's an important part of BR because you're going to be pinch hitting at least once. You're going to be pinch hitting for your pitcher at least at one point during the game. And so having a good guy on the bench who can get you that clutch hit is really nice. Now, I don't have anyone here that is super good. Now, I am batting 1,000, small sample size, but still batting 1,000 with Turner. So that's something. So we may end up taking him there. This is kind of a throwaway pick. Nothing is great. I don't like this catcher. I think we'll get a better one. So we'll take Turner as sort of a throwaway pick. All right. Hey, you know what? We're getting very lucky. Hochevar, another excellent bronze reliever. He throws gas. He's got that cutter and the sinker. Now, the per nines are not great, but with 11 innings, I've got just over 1.5 ERA and a .71 WHIP. He throws super hard, and when you're in all-star setting, which is BR is all-star difficulty level. The PCI is significantly larger than if you were in the Hall of Fame setting or Hall of Fame difficulty. Now, because the PCI is bigger, my philosophy is that higher velocity plays better on the all-star difficulties. I think that movement and pitch movement plays better on the Hall of Fame difficulty, and actually velocity not as well. But since we're in all-star and we're on BR, velocity is extremely important in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Hochevar here. Really one of the better bronze relievers. And we've got two of them, Vizcaino and Hochevar. Jumbo Diaz, if we get him, we've got the trifecta. Okay, kind of a throwaway pick here, except this is a great guy for the bench, and he can play in the field too. So Jones, I'm probably going to take him. What I can do is use him especially as a defensive replacement for Dave Winfield if it gets to a point in the game where I'm up and I need to make sure I have some decent speed and fielding in right field, then I can put him in instead. So we're going to go with Adam Jones here. Zach, thanks for subscribing. Did you get your free pizza? I told you could have it, so I want to make sure you get it. All right, we've got two starters here. Now, when you get faced with a situation where you have two starters, my rule of thumb is I will always go with the lefty. Now, why is that? When you're playing BR, your opponent most of the time is going to is going to put a lefty hitter in the first position of the lineup. And I would recommend this to you guys as well. Now, why is that? The reason for that is about 80% of the starting pitchers in BR are right-handed throwers. And your opponent cannot take him out. He has to pitch to you for at least the first batter. So putting a lefty in that first position, even if he's not your best player, but putting a lefty in that position is an advantage to you because 80% of the time you're going against a subpar right-handed pitcher. So if I'm faced with a choice of two starters and one of them's a lefty, I will always go with a lefty, unless it's Chris Young. But I'll always go with a lefty. So in this situation though, I've got two righties, and I don't think either one of these are great. He's got a cutter, so that's decent. I think Cologne throws kind of hard, but I'm going to go with him because he's got a little bit more movement. He's got that cutter. So we'll go with Simon here. Zach, you did not receive your free pizza. That is a shame. Okay. Pretty sure we're going to go with Molina here. I hit really well with him, I believe. 356, yeah. And he also, know your quirks. When you're in BR, sometimes these quirks can make a difference. He has unfazed quirk. So what that means is when he gets 2 strikes on him, the PCI gets bigger. So it's nice when you're playing with a guy like Molina because you can actually work the count against the pitcher, and it's to your benefit. If you get 2 strikes on you, then your PCI actually gets, like 25% bigger. And so you're actually in a better position to hit. As long as you don't, as long as hitting with 2 strikes doesn't affect you that much. So, in this situation, I don't like either one of these cards. If this was a Neshek, or if it was a Aroldis Chapman, or if it was 84 Boxberger, I would take one of them instead. But since neither one of these guys are really my favorites, I'm going to go with Molina here. Somebody send Zach a virtual pizza emoji. I don't know how to do that on here. Okay. All right. So I've been talking a lot and I haven't been paying attention. So we have we filled out our lineup. Okay. So we have filled out our lineup, and now we have 4 spots left for our relievers, and we have 2 spots left for our starters. Now they're going to start pushing starters on us, but don't take them. Don't give in to them. Even if they give you a really crappy reliever, just take the reliever. Do not get a starter that's a silver or gold unless you absolutely have to. Now, we're lucky here. Brock, he's a good pitcher. Rusin has not great per 9s. Brock has a good pitch selection, and he's got good per 9s for a silver card especially, so we're going to go with him. Oh, nice job, Tim. Thank you. Okay. Well, we're still getting the pitcher rounds, and now look. Now they're giving me 3 starters, which for the life of me, SDS, why are you giving me 3 starter choices here when I still have 3 bullpen positions? So I'm hoping you're watching this stream, SDS. I love you guys. I love what you do. I love the game, but please, I don't need 3 starters here. I just don't. Not in the silver round. Okay, so right here, we're going to take Strop. We're pretty much forced to. Give us a comment. Okay, there we go. Now we have the choice, a righty or a lefty. Now, even though the lefty's stats are not as good, you guys know my rule. I'm going with the lefty because my opponent, most of the time, is going to have a lefty in the top of their lineup, and I want to match up against him. All right, so our starters are finished. We've got 2 more relievers to go with. So it's just taking a look real quick and seeing who I want to go with here. Machi. Okay, haven't used him before. Now, this is a point where I start looking at what pitch selection do they have and who have I used before. Now, I don't think I've used Nick Goody. So his K per 9 is pretty good. So I may end up going with Goody here. Now, when you're drafting in BR, you're going to have a bullpen where there's probably going to be 3 or 4 guys that you hardly ever use. They're just throwaways. So you get a round like this where, no one sticks out to you. Well, that's fine because chances are you were never going to use any of these guys anyways, not unless you get into a deep, 6 or 7 or 8 inning game. So in this situation, I'm just going to take the guy who I've well with in the past, and we'll just move on. So that would be goody. So hopefully we get a silver reliever or Nishek. Oh no. So we got a common. I was hoping we might get Nishek or we might get Patansis, but honestly, this is not a bad bullpen. Even without any golds in it. We've got Blevins, who I pitched well with. Brock is good, and then Hochever and Vizcano for the bronze they're really good. So we're gonna go ahead and let's see who. I'm leaning towards Gorzolani, even though I don't think I'll ever use him, just because he's another lefty to have, and we only have one lefty. And these other guys, I don't know much about them. So I think we're going to have to go with Gorzolani here. Okay, so we've got 5 bench positions left. Let's see our lineup. Which positions would we like to improve in? Okay, so right off the bat, second base. So I want to get a better second baseman, and I want to get a better left fielder. And if I get a really good center fielder, then I could go ahead and just leave Dyson for a bench position if it works out that way. But for sure, we want to get another second baseman, and we want to get a left fielder. So we got a bronze round. Chances are this is going to be a pinch hitter. I have done well with this Flores card before. He's got good vision. I think, okay, I thought he might have unfazed, but for a bronze card, 73 to hit 450. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with this card. Maybe it's just me, but I hit really well with him. He also is eligible to play second base, which is great. So we're going to take him, and if we don't get a significant upgrade at second base, then we'll play him there. Just no problem. Okay, so we're looking at second base or the outfielder, or an outfielder. I think I've done well with Hicks. He's a switch hitter, so we may end up. Actually, I haven't done well with him. 235. I think I might end up going with him. Santana is good, but the problem with Santana is I only feel comfortable putting him at first, and I already have Eddie Murray there, so I don't think I would put him at third. No, I don't think I would put him at third. Let's see here. As a secondary position, his fielding is going to go down about 20%. So I don't know if you guys know that, and maybe I'm wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're looking at secondary positions, the fielding will go down by about 20%. So what's 20% of 70? Like 17 or so. So his fielding would be like 53. And I don't think I would want to put him at third base with a 53 fielding. Banks, we could put him at shortstop. Well, I may end up going with Hicks here. He's got pretty decent speed and good defense, and we can put him in left field. So we put him in left field with Jones. I think we're going to do that. We're going to go with Hicks here. And he's a switch hitter. Yeah, quick maths. I don't know. It may have been wrong. All right. Let's see. This is going to be a bench player. We are going to go with we're going to go with Gonzalez. We've got a lefty off the bench. He's got good contact and good power and good vision. So he's somebody that can come in and match up well against a righty that your opponent brings in. We got a gold round left still. Here we go. So who is this? Okay. So let's see here. Let's look at the construction of our lineup so far. So Turner is going to be out, and we could get Albers, and he's a switch hitter. We may end up doing that. We may put Albers in at second base as a switch hitter. That's probably the move we're going to make. Let's see what. Haven't played with him before. So this will be interesting. He's got good vision. He has good contact, decent power numbers. His fielding is good. Speed is good. I think, we also could play Calhoun there, and he has better numbers. And this is a little misleading, the 727. I know this was all against the CPU. So, yeah. But his fielding is not as good, and his speed is not as good either. And his secondary position, so I don't want to put him at second base. So we're going to go with Albers there. We're going to play him at second base, and he's a switch hitter. I think that's going to be the right move. And okay, now we've got one more for our bench. And nobody here has great power. I guess Fledgley could be considered somebody that you might bring in as a righty against lefties, but no one is significantly better than the other. So I think what I'm going to do is probably just pick somebody who I could put in for speed and base running if needed. So we'll go with Ghost here. So if I was setting this lineup, I'm not going to play right now because we're about ready to get into the no stub showdown, which, let's see, what time is it anyways? We're 10 minutes late. So we're going to get right into the no stub showdown. So we're going to go right into the no stub showdown in just a minute. And if I was setting my lineup, I would probably, like I said, we would go with Dyson first as a lefty. And then I would probably put Rollins next. He can't match up against that. And then I would put Eddie Murray next after that. And then maybe even Albers after that. Or, let's see, we're taking him out, aren't we? We're putting Hicks in there. We got a lot of switch hitters. So, you know, I'll have to mess around. Boy, we have a good lineup. Man, we've got Winfield here. Yeah, we have a really good lineup. So pitching is not too bad either. Anyways, I got to get into the No Stub Showdown. So we're going to sign off here. We're going to start a new feed so that somebody can come right in and watch the No Stub Showdown. So go ahead and once I close this one out, then jump right into the new one, guys. Thanks for watching the draft. I hope you guys learned something and that you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in a few minutes.